Hello, and welcome to the episode of Todd Talks. Todd Talks. People listen. Shut up! Hopefully. It is time, and I swear it's not getting easier to do these every like 2 weeks or so. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna endure for you guys because you guys seem to enjoy my videos a lot. So yes, it's time for yet another death battle, and this time we have a very unique one in a battle of the what do you want to call it, the armored warriors. We've only had a few of those. It is Genos from One Punch Man versus Rhodey War Machine from Marvel Comics. And yeah, this is gonna be cool. I'm told that the battle for this is gonna look very, very slick. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But there's gonna be a lot of firepower in this one. So let's just dive into it. In the world of One Punch Man, there are a lot of villains, and for one 15-year-old boy named Genos, he was just doing his thing when all of a sudden his whole life literally got blowed up, and that included himself. He was saved by a doctor and was turned into, at his own request, a full-on cyborg. Why? Because it was a cyborg that blew up his home, his family, his friends, etc., etc. And his goal was to get revenge on this cyborg by becoming the cyborg that that killed him. It's one of them weird anime revenge things. Like, to beat the cyborg, I have to become the cyborg. It's like that kind of a thing. So, and Genos, to his credit, actually did do a lot of good work. He would defeat whole organizations by himself, but he knew he had to get stronger. And then he met a bald-headed kid named Saitama, and begged him to become his apprentice. And Saitama's reaction was, "Okay." Anyway, so after that point, Genos became not just his apprentice, but his best friend of a sort, and would defend his master with his life, all the while becoming part of the Hero Association as an S-Class hero and fighting all sorts of villains that came to play. And by play, I mean destroy. Now, the one thing that separates Genos from many of the other heroes of One Punch Man, including the one you have known from Death Battle in Tatsumaki, is that technically speaking, he is not a superpowered being. He is a cyborg that grants him abilities. So unlike Saitama, who has his natural one-punch kills, or Tatsumaki, who is telekinetic, or some of the other people they fought, like Speed of Sound Sonic. Please tell me that you got that pun. And others, his abilities are derived specifically from his body, which is both good and bad. Because on one hand, as has been shown throughout the series, both in the comic and the anime, Genos has the ability to get his body upgraded. In fact, he's upgraded his body many times over the course of the series via the doctor that made him what he was. And this has allowed him to have more speed, better reactionary abilities, more firepower, and even having anti-Saitama armor, which sounds a lot cooler than it actually is, but whatever. And so that was a plus. Every time he would have like a major battle, he would be able to upgrade himself to become stronger. The problem is that because of his mindset, because of his view on battle and how he does things, his tactical skills are a bit lacking, and because of this, he gets hurt a lot. Like he'll fight with one arm because his other arm's gotten blasted off because he's rushed in and decided to do overwhelming power attacks versus using tactics to try and get better and get a better advantage. Now, to be clear, this has changed over the years. He has evolved himself to start using various things to help him win battles. He's become a trickster in certain ways so that he can gain advantages, including when he has to fight someone who's actually faster than him. He will use this adhesive gel to literally like stick them to something so that they can't move, and thus he can deliver a fatal blow, potentially. And in other situations, he's used his various cyborg abilities to give him advantages so that he can defeat his foes. So he has learned. It's just, even compared to some of the other heroes or villains of this franchise, Genos is definitely lacking in the whole "I need to keep myself whole" department. But hey, it works for him. And to his credit, he has done a lot of good and had a lot of victories over the years. And a big reason for this is his various arsenals that he has within his body. Via the various upgrades that he has had, he has gotten a whole plethora of weapons, including uh, missiles. He has boosters in his feet that can allow him to go incredible speeds. He has blades. He has arms mode, which can literally obliterate the top of a mountain. And he has incineration cannons. He has laser weapons. He is able to take the core that powers his body and put it into his arm to unleash even more powerful attacks. He has just this whole breadth of weapons at his disposal. And that speaks nothing for his physical strength, where he is able to punch people so hard they can crack walls. He can drop kick the cement and crack it in a large way. He can lift very heavy objects and more. And in terms of experience, though he is only 19 years old, he does have experience in taking on not just super villains, but also fighting other superheroes, including his training with Saitama. And he actually, before he even met Saitama, as I noted, he defeated whole organizations on his own. So he does have a lot of hero experience, which is good. But he's also not exactly the most stable mind out there. He doesn't like that he's a cyborg, but he knows he has to be. He uh, he is very protective of people, or including mainly Saitama, but a few other people. And he will get up in people's faces if he thinks Saitama is being insulted. And he even doesn't like the hero organization because of some of the things that they do or say, including how they treat Saitama. So he's a bit impulsive at times, and you see that in his battle techniques, because even his later phases where I said he uses tricks, it doesn't always help, and he still rushes in to get damage. And even with simulations saying that he's got a 70% chance of winning certain battles, that doesn't always mean that he will, because it's just not how battles work. And the fact that he has to keep upgrading himself to get stronger shows that he has a limit. And even against villains that he can beat, there are still others that are much stronger than him, and that's why he needs people like Tatsumaki, the Hero Organization, Association, and One Punch Man to help him out. But still, he is a very powerful hero. He is very, very popular, especially with the ladies and everything. And so clearly, he knows what he's doing. He has the ability to help out the world, and he chooses to do so because he knows it's the right thing to do. So there you go. And then there was James Rhodes, aka Rhodey. Once upon a time, James Rhodes was just a simple kid, and he decided, I'm going to go and join the military in order to have a better life for myself. And he succeeded. He was able to go and join the Army. He became an expert mechanic. He became a pilot for the Army. And then during the Vietnam War, he had his plane shot down, but he survived. And because of a random encounter, he met Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. The two worked together to get out of the area, and when they did, they became friends. And eventually, Rhodey, as he's now known, came to work for Stark at Stark Industries, Stark Enterprises, and all the other places that Stark has made over the years. Trust me, it's a lot. It's comics. Now, one of the things that separated Rhodey from a lot of other people in Tony's life was that Rhodey wasn't afraid to call out Tony on his crap. And because of this, this is actually how he got the Iron Man armor in the first place. Because not unlike the Iron Man 2 film, which it was bad, but still, Rhodey saw Tony diving deeper and deeper into his alcoholism and decided, I need to step up and be Iron Man. And so he donned the Iron Man armor to, save face for Iron Man while also saving the world. And he was able to do so flawlessly. And as time went on, he got his own armor and became known as War Machine, and then Iron Patriot, and Iron Man 2.0, back to War Machine, then was the Manticore. You get the point. He's been a lot of things, all right? But mainly he is War Machine. And one of the things that needs to be stated, first and foremost, is that the War Machine armor, in all of its forms, was based on the Iron Man armor. And most of them were even built by Tony Stark with his blessing and consent to have Rhodey, be another one of these armored heroes, right? So the reason this is important is because though the War Machine armor is most times stated to be lesser than the Iron Man armors, that doesn't mean that they are, like I say this right, lesser in quality. Let's put it that way, because obviously Tony doesn't want his best friend to die, and Rhodey obviously needs armor that he knows can stand up against the craziness of the Marvel universe, and it has. And because of the various Iron Man armors have protected Rhodey throughout the ages. And of course, like the Iron Man armor, it has incredible strength, incredible durability. It has repulsor blast, supersonic speeds. It has, and of course, because it's War Machine, it has a large variety of weapons, from your basic guns to missiles to plasma blades, rocket launchers, Gatling guns, laser blasters. In one version, he was actually able to make it so that his armor could meld with other machines to give him even bigger weapons. Like, he merged himself with jets and tanks. Certain armors actually had the ability to turn invisible to phase through objects. His UI system, like Jarvis, which is not Jarvis, but it's a relatively close version, uh, is able to not just lock onto various targets and help guide his weapons. It's able to go and blind other targeting systems so that he can't be locked onto, which is a key point I'll be talking about later. And yeah, so the War Machine armor is incredibly powerful, and Rhodey is a very skilled pilot. As noted, he was a military veteran, but and though he was a pilot, which allows him to, fly the War Machine armor very easily, he was well trained in firearms and hand-to-hand combat. And with his various experience via the military, being Iron Man, being War Machine, being part of the Avengers, West Coast Avengers, uh, what was the Ultimates, A Force, and various other teams, he has gotten a wide variety of experience battling creatures and beings and gods that are um, better than him, stronger than him, faster than him, etc. And Rhodey does indeed hold his own, which is why he is one of the more reliable heroes in the universe, including being better than Tony Stark at times. Which is important because one of the things that War Machine became known for was basically cleaning up Tony Stark's messes, both in battle and in his life, which is why they have had numerous falling outs over the years. Rhodey taking the Iron Man armor at times to, you know, bail out Tony, and so on and so forth. So, and at one time, and this is actually where I actually got into comics, Rhodey was basically kind of like Genos. He was more cyborg than man because of various injuries that he had. And then he got a cloned body, and he was able to be human again, and he died because of Thanos, and then he came back. It's a whole thing. So the only downside to the Iron Man armors is that obviously they do have limits. The Iron Man armors are not meant for like uber prolonged combat per se, especially if they're dealing with a foe that's up to their level and beyond. However, they do last a long time, especially with the pilot is, not taking damage a lot. But and then the other problem is that Rhodey does have PTSD, which is manifested multiple times in the comics. He does not like being in the Iron Man or War Machine armor. He says it feels like a coffin. And after his most recent death in Civil War II, he went to the Manticore vehicle armor because it felt more like him being a pilot versus him being a superhero in a suit of armor. He did eventually become War Machine again, including right now in the comics, but he does prefer uh, a more bigger suit of armor. So let's just call it that. That being said, War Machine is a proud member of the Marvel Universe. He was proudly represented in the Marvel Cinematic Universe by two different actors, and has been shown very well in cartoons, video games, and more. And if I was to try and list all the people he has fought or beaten over the years, it would take a long time. But I'll give you a few basic ones. He's fought Iron Man and definitely beaten Iron Man at times. He has fought Ares, the god of war, who is, actual god. He has fought Norman Osborn in Iron Patriot armor, which is another Iron Man suit. He's fought Ultimo. He has fought Ultron. He has fought Obadiah Stane. He's fought Justin Hammer and all his drones. He's fought various other cyborg entities. He's fought cosmic beings. He's fought a lot. He's fought alongside the Avengers in all their crazy adventures. He's done a lot, let me tell you. So because of that, he is one of the most experienced members of the Marvel Universe. He's very well respected for his tactical acumen in battle and uh, his intelligence in terms of warfare, also being a very competent combatant. So if Iron Man is a little busy right now, you know that War Machine's got your back. All right, so who wins this one? Now, this one was a little bit trickier than I thought it would be because this is this is comparing anime craziness to comic book craziness, which you'd think is about the same, but it's not. All right. With Genos, he has the craziness of knowing that he's got, people like Tatsumaki and Saitama um, next to him, and they're very clearly more powerful than he is. But that doesn't mean, sorry, that Genos isn't powerful himself. In fact, it's stated that he is very, very powerful, despite not being to the level of certain heroes or villains. The problem here is that with War Machine, we can compare him to Iron Man. The basic Iron Man suits are capable of going supersonic speeds. They're capable of uh, having lifting 100 tons plus. The unit beam is able to destroy buildings and a whole bunch of other things. And Rhodey's weaponry varies depending on the armor, from laser weapons to basic missiles and such. So clearly he's got a lot of firepower, which so does Genos, obviously, but uh, it's kind of clear that the War Machine R is better, if for no other reason than, yes, they both get upgraded, but Rhodey's usually gets upgraded only after certain events or when certain suits are destroyed, where Genos seems to get upgraded like after every single freaking battle or repaired after every single freaking battle, because he just lets himself get destroyed. Even when he gets tricky with his tactics, it doesn't always work out for him, and he has to keep getting repaired and getting upgraded and everything. And some of his abilities, like there's this one mode where he can fire a super powerful blast, but he can only be in that mode for like 10 seconds to fire the blast, else his core would blow up and he would die. And so if War Machine was to able to destroy that core, Genos is dead, versus the fact that the War Machine armor at times has been made of vibranium and other very durable metals that are very hard to break. There are times that they have been destroyed by basic explosions, but even then, it's clear that it's a random occurrence or a rare occurrence. Like one time, it got blown up by a nuclear missile, and that destroyed the armor. And I'm like, okay, but we've also seen Iron Man take those kinds of hits in the past. Also, as noted, because it's gonna be like an amalgamation, you gotta include like various other abilities of the War Machine armors, including the phasing ability, the ability to not let other cyborgs track him with their own UIs or lock-on abilities. It's got the War Machine suit has got faster, it's sleeker, it can go invisible. It's got a lot of things going for it, and they can counter a lot of what Genos has got going for it. Because if Genos can't track War Machine, then he can't use that his certain abilities to help himself. Like he can assess the speed of an opponent, and he can assess the strength that he's going to need to win the fight. But if you can't track Rhodey and you can't scan him, and a scanner has flaws, like the scanner is unable to determine certain things about opponents. And in one case for Genos, it actually registered one giant opponent as multiples, which was incorrect. So, and then while Genos has a lot of experience, Rhodey has so much more. Like again, he's been Iron Man, he's been War Machine, technically for many, many years. I mean, I know it's complicated with the large scale of the Marvel Universe and all the reboots and anything, but even if you just count his war experience and the Iron Man experience and the other experiences of War Machine, he's been doing this, let's just conservative estimate, 10 years at least. And that's with him fighting, gods, monsters, and a whole bunch of other things, where Genos, while he's fighting powerful villains, it's not the same. So because of that, I am picking War Machine as my winner for this one. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be fun, but I'm gonna have to pick War Machine here. So with that, I'm ending this episode of Todd Talk. Who do you think is going to win between Genos and War Machine, and why? Let me know in the comments below. Also, check out the pinned comment. I have a Kickstarter going on for the next issue of my comic series, Tokyo Boy Detectives, and I need your help. Even if you can only pledge $3, $5, whatever, it really helps. And we have tiers to get you issues 1 and 2. Check the link below. Check the Kickstarter. I could really use your help, guys. So I thank you for watching. If you made this far, I know you're listening, and I'll see you around.